everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Stephanie James, and today's topic is your preferred transport when you travel. So there are so many ways when you're traveling that you can get around the different cities, and I have a few that I enjoy. I think number one is subway, right? So the train depends on the city for me. Like New York, London, Tokyo, perfect, top tier. Like you can get probably within a block of walking distance to anywhere you want to go on the tube and or bus routes in London, which is fantastic. Tokyo is the same. Tokyo is a bit confusing because it's massive and very busy, but you can get anywhere you need to go on the train in Tokyo as well. Same with New York, although that's confusing for me sometimes too. I think because I lived in London for a year and a half, I learned how to navigate the London tube the best. But public transportation is definitely a great one. It's a great, efficient way to move around. I think in the wintertime, it's kind of difficult because it's cold. And so if you're waiting, if you miss the bus, then you have to wait another 10, 15 minutes for the bus in London or wherever you may be that's chilly. That's difficult, right? You have to just make sure you have the proper gear and that you're ready and prepared to be in the elements, depending on what those elements are. Number two would be walking. So if you stay downtown, it's a very walkable area. If you're I recommend that if you're staying in a space where you're staying close to the activities that you want to do, or if you're just there for a beach vacation, right? You just want to hang out at the beach and you don't want much more than that. It's just to go out. You want to literally walk from your room or hotel onto the beach and relax. And that's the type of vacation or vibe you're going for. Walking is just fine. Third would be biking. Some hotels, like when I stayed in Stockholm in Sweden, some of those hotels, they rent out bicycles. And so you could use the bike as a easy method. Same in Amsterdam. There's a lot of bikers in Amsterdam. Like you see more bikes than cars around Amsterdam. Venice is really hard to drive. So you see a lot of walkers and bikers. I think biking is a fantastic way to get around. Once again, if it's not cold. Because if it's cold and then the wind is blowing in your face, not my preferred method of getting around, but a method nonetheless. Number four is scooters. Oh, I love scooters. This is one of my favorite ways of getting around. So when I lived in Bali, I lived in Bali for a month, and for the first week that I was there, I was walking a mile to the grocery store, a mile back with these big bags in my hand, and I was like, this is not gonna work. And so I rented what they called a scoopy, which was a scooter. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. It was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life because I was able to take trips. I think I did an hour-long road trip to a different city in Indonesia. The gas was $2 to fill up your entire tank. And all the gas stations, they don't really have gas stations. They have storefronts that house gas, and the gas is in Coca-Cola bottles, and they just fill up your scooter, your scoopy, and you keep going about your business. It is fantastic. One of my very favorite experiences in all of my travels, and definitely a core memory for the time that I spent in Bali. The fifth way would be driving a car, and I love to drive when I travel. I've driven in Mexico, in Iceland, in London, in Germany. And Germany's fun because it's the Autobahn, which I thought the Autobahn was a specific place or a specific location. The Autobahn is actually just what they call the highway. So all of the highways, the Autobahn, and on a lot of the Autobahn, they do not have speed limits. And, because of that reason, Germans are very strict and follow the rules. So if you are driving slow, they are in that right lane. Because the people in the left lane, I think at one point I was going 110 miles per hour and people were passing me, very quickly passing me. So on the Autobahn, you make sure you follow the rules, you get out the way. It can be fun if you're have a need for speed, but be safe nonetheless. London was a fun experience because the steering wheel was on the other side of the car, and it's when you learn how to drive on the left side of the car, like we do in the States, you learn how to leave space for the right side of your vehicle. It's actually really challenging for your mind to sit on the right side of the car and leave space for the left side of your vehicle. And so I actually got a flat tire the first time I drove in London because I hit a curb because I didn't leave enough space to account for the left side of my vehicle. But I was headed to the Stonehenge, so I just went and got my tire changed and continued going to the Stonehenge. And it was a good time. Iceland was really fun because if you fly into Keflavik, which is where the Blue Lagoon is. So the Blue Lagoon is 20 minutes from the Keflavik airport. So side note, if you're ever in Keflavik, just plan a long layover so you can go to the Blue Lagoon if it's open. But Keflavik to Reykjavik, the main city, is about an hour. And so just the scenic route of driving in Iceland is so beautiful. And in Mexico, I was driving from Cancun to Playa del Carmen and then to Tulum, which is about, I think, Playa is like an hour from Cancun, and then there's another hour from Playa to Tulum. But it's a nice, easy ride. Not too hard, not too stringent, beautiful sights to see, get some things along the side of the road. Like Mexico is a fun place to drive for me. And then probably the easiest place to drive and most annoying was Belize. So I drove over 15 hours in Belize filming episode 1 of Changing Tourism, which is coming soon. Stay tuned. I drove all over Belize because I was visiting the villages, and just the first village alone is 3.5 hours from Belize City, which is the airport you fly in to get into Belize. And I was just back and forth, going to different events, making sure that I hit all the functions, but I drove a lot. So it's wide open, very easy to navigate, very easy to drive, but there are a lot of speed bumps. So you're just minding your business, going along your way, and there's a speed bump. They do have some signs, but then some of them are not. So you just have to be very mindful of all of the speed bumps that they have out there. So anyway, driving, I love to drive in different countries. Let me know what your preferred method of transportation. The other one is going to be ride shares, of course, right? Like Uber, Lyft, there's Free Now, there's Bolt. I know there's different ones throughout the world. But ride shares are good. They just sometimes tend to get very expensive if you're using them as a sole purpose to get around a city. So drop in the comments. Let me know what's your favorite mode of transportation when you're traveling. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share this with somebody who wants to come on this journey to 40. And I will holla at y'all mañana, or should I say morgen. Tschüss.